I think I've got to take my Stormy boys. Storm on request is who I'm going to put some cash money on. But as we said, I mean, Bob, 20 great teams. And taking a look at this plane, it's the worst plane in the world, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, it may be, a bit efficient-ish, but in the end, what matters is that it carries a lot of artillery and a lot of kill-hungry players that are now dropping very early down, looking to claim some early kills. We see Na'Vi as well coming about that bottom left, trying to maybe sneak their way into Premier League, but again, it's going to be this mid-side. We see so many teams just dropping out all at once, and not much hot drops from the very beginning.
Not too many teams looking to fight early on, and kind of establishing your position in this map is going to be ultimately very important. One of the reasons is this is one of the repeat maps to start off our day. So if you can land somewhere solid, establish that you are the owners of a high loot dense location, and then fight your way out of it, it's going to scare those other teams around you. So for a lot of teams, playing a little bit safer to start out, but of course with Erangel being map number 2 as well, we'll have to see what those repeat performances bring.
The map rotation never tends to change in this series and format, so teams did have a bit of preparation here going into these 6. Now, the first one, we already have some drops. We're taking a look at 4 dogs here, and of course, Bicep, Jambo, Sada, and Lucid Freak not going to be sticking together. They have spread out, probably going to be trying to secure as much ground and loot as early as they can, but keep in mind, people are looking to get the move, people are looking to get into those gunfights, and most importantly, 7 Gaming going to be kicking us off with a very interesting kill, a bit of a drive-by, you could say.
Those cars always dangerous, and not only getting a vehicle for your protection, but also for offense, catching some players in rotation, ultimately very important. And what we're going to see across the day is teams going to split their early members, because there's no sort of respawn in overall PUBG. If you can take a member out on those rotations while also gathering a vehicle, that's got to be your #1 priority on the to-do list.
Absolutely. Empire Gaming, another one of those organizations you want to keep a steady eye out for, but currently they're going to be taking the edge of the map, just looting up. Again, most of the teams tend to loot up, some of the other go in for the battle the very second they land, trying to get a pistol. Even a melee works for them, but as long as they can rack up on those points, that's all that matters. We're going to be looking towards this mid-game, as now, again, cars are going to be on the ride. You need to catch up on that storm circle as much and as vastly as you can, but as teams get closer to each other, higher the chances are that we're going to be seeing some early engagements.
That's what it's all about. Those early fights can not only bring some juiciness in terms of the point value, but also it's what we call the loot snowball. You get the loot early, you get to loot your opponent's body, ammo, grenades, and heals aplenty will come from that. And we'll see teams in the endgame that fought early, that didn't lose a lot of their members, are going to have a lot better loot choice in terms of especially the augmenting of their guns, the scopes, the magazines, and what have you, than a team that just played for placement.
Storm on request, holding this bridge under contention currently, but little do they know, as much as a move as they want to make, and again, teams do tend to spread out in the very beginning, then they clubber up together to go into these team fights and try and take out as many, but keep in mind here, Llama, the one issue is once you lose a player, once he's knocked and finished, you cannot get him back.
True. We're in a little car chase here, a little Fast and Furious type deal, as Typhon will lose one of their members on the rotation. Agori's gonna hit him on the run over. Some early kills, trading out the back away on towards the car and pulling out the barrel, moving towards those shots in the side cover, and now getting back in the car.
Well, we get in, we get out. It's a simple, a bit of meds out there and trying to reclaim what currently you're losing out on that HP. Typhon have already lost out on the player. Tiny will be one of those early victims, sadly falling. And although now you may be down to 3 players, most of these maps tend to come down to 2v2s, if not even 1v1s.
Can be dangerous too for some of those third parties. I mean, you talk about just shooting a single bullet, everybody within a large radius around you is going to hear that action and say, okay, if they're fighting, why not us too? Nosferatu is able to get the first knockdown of the game onto Grove Street. Storm on request was not only able to top their groups in round number 2, but also round number 1. They tallied up an 80-point total, and bang, from Empire, they've got some snipes.
They've got some snipes indeed, long range, might as well take it. If you have the position, if you have the control, and if there is an enemy in your line of sight, you might as well take the shot and go while you're at it. Now, the GP is going to be around, maybe looking for a bit of ram action, but Empire Gaming, they're not letting go of the steam. They might have lost out on a player, but that's not going to be bringing them down for catching an extra bit of points.
They gotta get this cutoff though, trying to find the leftward angle as XP approaches from the front side. From Safa Barbarians, they do get the res, but at what cost? Now you're stuck behind the tree line, some smoke coverage gonna be utilized to try and pressure on in as the heals go down, but Hot Diggity is going to need to play some great defense. Only a 3-man squad, but if they can cut down one of these angles, just like taking down XP, that might be their way out.
That just may be. Mira put in a fight back. Empire now feeling a greater loss than ever, and not finishing out Stefan here might be a Gravedigger as of beginning. Now down onto it, gonna get that pickup, possibly. No just heals in the meanwhile, and a dirty game Empire playing as currently just shooting their shots and holding the entire team behind the tree line, not allowing them to escape nor have any headspace as they're just raining absolute hellfire down upon them.
I will say though, Empire right now are the ultimate losers of this fight. They've lost XP, they've lost that one member, and even though they're getting these overall damage points, I mean, Safa Barbarians are down to 2 players, but they're okay with just holding their ground. They're in this next zone, and they are just able to use their long range that they've built up from their looting to pressure Empire away.
Pressure them indeed. Oh, the Dragunov. This is a gun you really want to be scared of as any PUBG player. When it comes to long range, even mid range, this packs more than just a punch. And of course, with some ARs on the line side, this is going to be one of those maps that, again, isn't necessarily as open as a desert, but at the same time, it will be allowing a lot of sniper positions and a lot of positions to hide if you tend to be a sniper.
A lot of different nooks and crannies to tuck yourself in, but also those trees are really good for a bit of coverage. Chopped Chins look like they've got 2 down out in the water, and for Fairy Tail, a team that came in ranking 2nd in their Group A matchmaking in round number 2 of this championship series, they are already going to lose a couple members here early.
Oh, that's Marbo finding another one for the pickup. Not going to be enough for the tallies. He's looking to claim the second right now. That coverage from the boat will be absolutely legendary. But at some point, enough bullets will be able to bring down not only that vehicle, but also the final player, Fairy, who's right now diving in deep, trying to secure whatever legacy in this map number 1 for Fairy Tail. And again, the track record from this team, at least from the previous season, is quite decent.
And a pretty good result, but it will be both their first 2 players going down. Still 16 teams strong here entering overall. And it is going to be interesting to see when you land on some of these ridge lines. You get the opportunity to cut down some of those boat rotations. If you're not inside the zone, we talked about how really cramped it was down towards the southern side because of, well, the plane dropping everybody more towards the southern side. So those rotations were very, very clumped together. We'll see if we get a different plane going into map number 2.
We'll see if it tends to come around for it. Now, looking to spice things up, Fairy Tail have lost 2 players. It definitely has gone to Casualty and Crime, but they're looking to recoup, gather some stuff, and try to secure a bit of endgame. Again, if you get to those top 7 spots, you can still claim some points, and in the meanwhile, again, take these long-range engagements that Empire showed us can really work out well on this map.
Longer terms, longer changes here. For 4 Dogs, it looks like they have got a member down in Jambo, and Grove Street, another one of those teams to watch out for, as we mentioned in the pre-show. Really good about splicing those angles up, diversifying their portfolio in terms of the damage, but Vazo is going to get dropped, so a 1-for-1 trade in terms of downed members at the moment.
For 1 trade, there goes the nade. Boom goes the dynamite. Not going to be claiming any damage. Now, 4 Dogs have had a bit of a consistent run, you could say. Now, they haven't picked up on those kills, but what matters is that they've been reserving the entire team for that endgame run. Getting the pickup here. Grove will be giving them a bit of trouble, but an exchange of players we can clearly spot on our screens. As again, there are multiple 1v1s between certain teams, but third parties are still something you need to take into account.
Lots of teams in the area because of those close landings together. For Grove Street going for the Rez right now, needing to get all three members back up on their feet, because they know, I mean, lots of teams in the area with those third parties. I mean, Mira has been a team that has been kind of sharks in the water around any blood they smell.
Absolutely. Now, finding any team fight that may favor you definitely allows you to win some battles, but in the end, you will not be winning that war just yet. Coming through, we can see the zone is going to be crushing about 3 to 4, 5, maybe even teams out of it, pushing them in. And this is where, again, this map tends to be such a gravedigger, partially just because of the fact that when people want to push in, they can't really look at the entire 180 in front of them, but they have to majorly focus on just getting into the zone, finding themselves some comfort and safety, but the next second you know it, you're getting shot at, maybe even downed.
Can just be a snap decision very, very quickly. Can your route in this map number 1 change? Get to see Fairy Tale there with their remaining 2 members flying from the sky. They had lost 2 earlier in that boatward rotation and ended up being members of the Seagrave. For Croscow, they're going to think about bringing that Dragonov. You talk about the power to snipe long range to try and shut down Fairy Tale's first game.
Oh, Crosco, he's just looking out for himself. Again, in a game where it's a bit open, a bit more open than your usual FPS shooter, you really have to be wary of your surroundings. That's the Battle Royale tradition, and currently completely surrounded, Na'Vi have found themselves in the crossfire of all teams which haven't begun fighting yet, but you want to get out of this position once they do.
This is a kind of awkward position because you only have that cover on the one side of you. So you get that one angle from the backside and all of a sudden could go down very quickly. And you talk about a team that has already lost a member, Grove Street, down to 3 players after that kind of mid-round scuffle in phase number 1. But it's 4 dogs that are looking to re-engage on Empire.
Oh, those dogs, they're hungry. They're looking to bite down hard. And Sada, he's feeling that greed. He needs a bit of bloodlust and looking to find himself an opportunity, just sneaking about. Again, long range is going to be the name of the game on this map. And still trying to find these arc shots, windows of opportunities all around, but there's no openings for you to click on ahead just yet. Crosshair feeling hungry. It's so sad, but, you know, the initiation from the rest of its teammates, either they're trying to surround the building and maybe pinch out whatever remains of Empire, or Empire are just waiting to lurk them out.
I mean, on the defensive position from Empire, the tough part for them is we remember that earlier fight on the shoreline. They lost a member from it. They traded 1 for 1, but this is the ultimate result. Now you have to bunker yourself up. Only the P90 to work with and another long-range weaponry, so no sort of shotgun in the inventory from Michael. And there's also another squad in Mira up on the hill, so those windows definitely not safe either. The smoke is coming in, and, well, Empire's now got to be more careful than ever.
Looking to smack him around again. There's no time to waste. Everyone can be a bit more patient. You know what they say. Patience and is key. A key to opening the door to finding yourself out of this very tough position. Now, Empire, they're just holding this building under their own. Anyone gets up close, you mentioned the P90. It is an absolute powerhouse up on close range. It may not pack a punch like a shotgun, but the bursts of shots are absolutely deliberate and unrelenting to say the least. Now, Samler, we take a look at them. They're having a bit of a second look, trying to even punish anyone being on Big Boat. And currently, well, they're just having an easy pass by. As Savage, they're having some easy transportation, but I believe that Samler have slowly caught onto their shtick.
I recognize there's players there, but I don't know that they really want to engage on that right now. Don't know if they sense it or not, but there is another team up on that shoreline with them, and Trandantes and another squad over on the other side past them. So many teams starting to group together. Of course, we are in phase 3 here with that zone closing and closing and closing. Luckily, it's only cutting out some of the water, just really restricting the play area towards that main island.
We can definitely take a look at most of the teams that have tended to, keep most of their players alive. We have teams with 3 or 4, or maybe even the entire squad up and living and healthy. They have 0 kills. While the others are taking some shots, there's taking some opportunities and maybe a bit of a gamble, but coming out with points, as Ogiri is going to be one of those rare standing teams with not each single player alive, but at the same time, they've gotten themselves 2 points on the board, even looking to get an extra few, but being spread out as they are may tend to work against their favor.
It's that differential approach. It's often leaves you in one-on-ones, and for better or for worse, that can allow a team to overwhelm you very quickly, but also allows them to build up positions like this. They have trapped a member out behind this kind of back fence line and able to take 3 different angles. Safa, by the way, get a down and a finish there, so we are seeing players start to drop like flies.
Like flies indeed. You peek out and the next second you're dead. A lot of kills, a lot of downs, even more here. Empire still fighting a good game. Even with those 2 players, half of the squad up and living, they're going to be putting up more than just a fight, although Navi TBA will be there to put an extra point or 2 down. Now, Dogs are having some issues as Sada goes down. Not going to be a finish on it, but Empire are definitely giving them some trouble in making headway for this building.
I don't hate this play, though. You go for the res with a little bit of window crossfire. Jimbo's going to be watching to make sure that opportunity does not come through. Now, the problem is going to be, is there going to be engagement up the stairs? It feels like that high ground advantage, always so good, can just peek through the stairways here, as their opponents would have to walk out in open area. And the bigger question is how fast can you finish this one? Empire's only down to 1 member, so theoretically you could rush them 4-on-1, but we've said it, that P90 can do some damage.
Yes, it can, Michael. This would be your catalyst. You find 4 dogs in 1 corner, you spray and pray, and manage to find some beautiful points. But in the meanwhile, we talk about kills. That's going to be Aragori going with another, finding 2. 4 dogs find a finish onto Michael as Empire fall. And Samler eliminated in the meanwhile right prior to it. So guns going down. These are the final double digits we're about to be facing. And we have TBA dropping the board too, as this is going to be the 3rd team in a matter of seconds to be given off.
I like this so play, though. I'd say our later drop from our first team ever than usual, but players starting to really drop. Mira picking up a clump of kills there with a double. 7 Gaming also getting involved as Grove. Project Aches left will be able to pick up the finish on Tucuxi. It is going to be interesting. You got to get top 7 for those overall placement points, but there are a ton of players in this lobby. If you go within just placement points, you're missing out on all those kill potentials.
The first 13 teams are to remain. 3 were dropped earlier, and many more remain with only 1 or 2 players, which is going to be lowering that number in any amount of time. Some nades are out, shots as well. We do see explosions going off, and this is going to be a battle for the hill. The winner of the hill right now, Gory, just hiding behind tree lines again, trying to take cover as much as they can and take nature to their advantage. 7 Gaming have been pushing them to a brink, and just as they were at their edge, 7 Gaming decided to retreat with cars on the standby, and just maybe waiting for another team to wipe them clean.
Yeah, Gary's got to be careful, though. That storm right now is a 3-tick. It will just vampire away your health bar very quickly. For Savage, down to 3 members in their own right. Not great health bars. That's a great peek. Mira, get their knockdown. They are in an awkward position with Savage on that kind of low ground play. They have the tree coverage. They have the rocks. And they're just looking to get their finish.
Oh, Zen, he's pulling off some nasty lineups here. He's just chucking them all down. Hot potatoes left, right, and center. But Mira will be finishing off the job they begun, and Savage will be eliminated under all this pressure as it breaks them down, crumble like a cookie. And Mira now with 6 kills, all 4 players alive, and looking to be one of the top contenders that could possibly make it out as long as they play their cards correctly.
They've got a great position to enter with some already guaranteed points in terms of those kills. That was the 13th team to fall, 12 left to go. But Storm on request. They are a team that fluctuates in terms of what the tempo they bring to each section of the game. Those early fights, already a single kill, but keeping all 4 members alive. Ferry is going to lose yet another player. That might bring them down to just 1 left to go. But 7 Gaming, they are fighting, and they take down Ayagori with some beautiful nades.
Oh, the tree falls, the rooted, absolutely rooted out, and Agora, like you said, it's going to be down to the count as now 7 Gaming is going to be one of those powerhouses yet again, but we talk about elimination, and Barbarians are the ones to follow, making number 10 in their placement, which will sadly not be enough to capture any points. Now, Typhon, we have some shots out. That's going to be still some Rebellion coming out for Dogs, one of those teams you really need to keep an eye out for, looking to hit some of those bullseyes, as 7 Gaming and 4 Dogs are going to be having a bout between each other, looking to aggress. This is going going to be that close range. Again, the P90's been covered all the way from close buildings to these large containers. And just making an extension right now. 4Gaming might be pinched.
This is just a tough position overall. 7Gaming is going to lose one on the rotation. There are so many teams that are outside this next zone, and the zone pulled south away from a lot of coverage. There really only is a fence line to protect yourself, so now everybody is searching for position, battling what teams they can, but the third parties are going to be turning into 4th, 5th, and 6th parties.
Oh, the count just keeps on going off, and 7Gaming, as much as they were beginning to show off a bit of reigning terror, in the end they bit off more than they could chew, and now it's going to be bringing it down to them. Kasu might be falling to storm damage unless he can heal himself and get back in the fight full on, but currently it's looking like a dire situation closing down. Being the edge players, we have the last finals, 9 teams closing in on each other. Even Mira still putting up a fight, trying to shut anyone down. They've racked up 6 kills, looking for maybe the 7th, 2 for each, just a hat trick you can call it, and in the end, right now still playing their own game.
Popping the energy drink, gotta stay dehydrated out there on the court while you're battling against the other 8 teams to try and walk away with that chicken dinner. Grove Street having, well, what they want as 4 dogs get eliminated by the final member of Fairy T. It actually looks like they hit that res, so Wows and the other member will be up and fighting as Mira not too healthy on the health bar for Fana FPS, but picking up some really nice kills with that headshot.
Oh, a true hard nut to crack. You really can't surpass them so easily, and they're not going to be giving up any easier than that. Mira taking long, that's a finish onto Serpic. MFP lose another player, 1 off the count, and they just keep on going. That's the 2nd for it. Keep it under the belts and put them into the dirt, as Mira have proven to get themselves as close as, or maybe even the largest kill count we may have seen of any of these teams. As it currently stands, though, teams are going to be forced to a very closed up and compact corner that is the circle, closing in any second, and again, these last 8 teams will be bound to a death fight any second.
8 teams left. That also means you are 1 team out from securing some guaranteed placement points. And those points are available to grab. 7Gaming, one of the superstars, going to be eliminated. Everybody now +1 in terms of the points. But Grove Street, down to 3 members. They have 5 kills, but 1 of their own does fall. They're in this nice little rut, and they're going to pop some smoke to hit that rev.
Keep in mind, these are the final times you can revive your teammate. When we're going to be going into this final initiation, it's going to be do or die. It's going to be swing or be swung, and it's going to be none other than Storm coming out with a kill of their own. Maybe not a kill, but it will be a down onto Mira, definitely relieving themselves of some extra pressure, but also applying that pressure onto the wound of Mira, as now 1 down, going to be leaving 2. And again, you try to go for that pickup, and any second someone could be sneaking up on your back.
Storm on request, I mean, I don't even know how they got that position. They were one of the furthest north teams up in the military base. They fight for that little fence line, and Reactive will get their kill finish by nature of a headshot. But how about the long-range snipes from the NK-12? There goes GT210 KZ. Kalazine, the player to take him down.
Oh, what a name and what a game we're talking here. A lot to say, but currently MFP, Crazy Jetko, he's trying to take it all down by himself, but a single player surely won't do it. That's a killing spree for both these teams. 2 will fall, 4 will remain, and so much has gone down in a matter of seconds. Storm on request falls, many more teams to follow, and now it's down to the final 4, as only 2 teams with 3 players, Mira and CC with 2. Will that be enough to satisfy their lust and, of course, their greed for kills? We're about to find out as, oh, I'm feeling some bloodshed.
I can taste it on the horizon. Mira already, though, their kill numbers are insane. No matter the result, they are guaranteed to already have a 14-point game. And with the 2 players they have left, they want it all. For Grove Street, they have been silently building up a phenomenal game of their own. 5 kills on the combination, and they've actually got a really nice kind of center zone positioning where they can play this hill line and rocks to all those dirty head peeks.
The climax is about to kick off, and we're just waiting. All these teams really want to be as cautious as they possibly can be. Keep in mind, the first one to start the initiation will be bound to a third party, maybe even the fourth. Like we said, it only counts up from there, so you don't want to be the ones to start us off, but at some position, you will be forced to defend yourself. Be it that, or be the first one to try and collect some early kills in this final situation. That's your best bet to go with, but which of the two choices will you pick? It depends on these four teams to smart it out and see what they can figure.
I think Chop Chains are probably in the worst position out of the four. They've got a little bit of a fence line, but they're going to be the first to move. They're right in between two teams that both have coverage on their own. For Mira, they've got a little crouch down position that they're going to have to crawl their way to a little bit of cover. Even though we talk about this map as a lot of trees, a lot of cover, this is the little solid patch that brings out the open field perfect for an end game.
Oh, look at Groove. Oh, poor CC right now. What will they do? They're just laying down, waiting it all out, maybe trying to get themselves cozy with a blanket on top. But again, a single position will get you extra points. So as long as you can survive to the final 3, maybe even the final 2, you're going to be looking golden. It's an opportunity for the Platinums, and hiding behind this wire, just making sure these walls will cover your entire body, it's a good strategy, especially when you have 2 players, and some teams may even have more.
I do just love that plane positioning. Project steps up to the top of the plane, and the baited out shot there will gather some information on where Typhon is going to be playing from. And Grove Street, I think they know. They cut off their angles towards the left side. They view the right side first. The only thing it exposes them to is Mira on the other side, and Project is just gaining a wealth of information from this position.
Absolutely delightful to see here. Grove have not only taken it up and stepped up to the task and going towards this middle position, also taking high ground, having an overlook and a C over the entire situation as it forces a lot of these teams to crouch down. Typhoon will be making a move but drop down to their car. No ride will be able to protect you for long enough. Pop Tires, not much of a move on, and everyone just hiding for their dare safety. But at some point, we're gonna need to see a move. Typhon tries to make it some damage in it. The Storm will be taking a bit of that HP. And you do make a move, but now you will be setting a target on your back.
Oof. Lots of places to look though. Grove, the first to fall, will lose a member, and that finish coming through from Mira. 13 on their kills as that Storm starts to rip them apart. The fall down from the Storm, it's all down to Cal and Zine to try and keep the team alive. Again, so many different places to look though. Grove Street is going to look a different way. Mira losing their second member down to just 1.
Oh, Mira, one of your own. Now you're starting to beg for it. You're completely outzoned, and those heals will not last you forever. Grove can simply just nicely hold you down. Only how much more can you resist for? It's definitely a fight back against it, but your life can only be a temporary thing as long as Grove have a say about it. They're trying to wipe the team again, get those points, the final one to get it out of the competition, and Mira will be eliminated due to Storm causes, now allowing their kill to be for any extra points. But going off of it, trying to reap off of those benefits of high ground. Typhoon starting to lose some HP. Feel the pressure of Grove as they're definitely letting him know that they are the ones on top.
Watch this nade though. Project is gonna lob one long over the fence line. It's gonna do just about a 20% marker of the health bar of their opponents. But now you've got to watch. This is the awkward 3-person triangle. Grove Street, the only team inside of that next zone. But the good news for Typhon, they've got a lot of smoke grenades to help conceal their coverage on this move.
It's been a while, right? They've all been playing this slow game, and with Mira being eliminated, CC could have nicely just sneaked below it and gotten themselves to a closer position for extra points. Now we speak of the devil, and that's going to be Grove. Project Aches left, finding the right position and the right time to shoot an extra one down. 3 more teams are down onto there. There's going to be a 2v2v2. 3 teams. We're talking duos. We're talking shots. Project feels a bit of his own medicine as Typhon is now looking to deliver some back.
The interesting thing is that third player Typhon was resable, but is outside of the next playable area. Vazo goes down. All of a sudden with some lobbable nades, this could be a difference maker. Vazo dies to Squinksy on the rotation, and it's all up to Project Aches to try and clutch up for Grove Street.
Oh, it's all down to them. There comes the nade. Doesn't land perfectly, but will be diving in a bit of a tick. Now looking for Thunder to strike twice. Pro Grove, the only chance you have at winning it out will be Project, who has been holding this power position for much more than he needs to. And CC Typhon, again, they've been waiting it out. The second he peaks, they're going to be taking those shots if possible. It is 1 against 2 from each of these teams. Typhon, they could go for that pickup, but I don't think that's a risk you would call worth it.
I'm just surprised Chop Chins are still alive, man. They have been holding that fence line. Finally, Squinksy is going to get found out on their crossing rotation with the crawling area. This is the final phase. All 3 members of Typhon are up, but these 2 solos could cause them some trouble.
Oh, yes, they could. It may just be one, but it's a one-man army for each of these teams, as a lot is on the line currently, and it's down to the wire for every single one. Now, Typhon have gotten the pickup on their 3rd player. They have the numbers advantage. Finished off the storm. That will be on to Squinzy, and currently, it's 3 players against 2 solos. It will be an absolute wreckage coming in, and unless Grove and CC can currently muster their strengths and play this together, they will be falling down to quantity over quality. One peeks out. That's going to be Project with a double down. Oh. And Typhon, they haven't reset it to their bottom primal position. Now just looking to finish the job. He gets it! And Project Dykes from the top down to the bottom, 0 to 100. He's looking for the final ones. The magazine clicks. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And none other than Grove Street will be taking it home for the first map.
Insanity gets a quadra kill there. The triple on their opponents to start it out. And, I mean, Doubt Project...